Pages application. On the left, you see we have our Word document. Notice when I click on it, you've got your Word menu bar at the top. Here's your title bar, which gives you the name of the document once you've saved it, your standard toolbar, and then your formatting toolbar. Notice in comparison to Pages, when I click on it, we now have our Pages menu bar, and then here's our standard toolbar and then our formatting toolbar. So it does look the same. If you begin typing in a Word document, if we started typing, you can do the exact same thing in a Pages document. Once you get ready to do formatting, it will look similar to the Word document. So now that we've looked at the similarities and the differences, now we will go back and we will look at just our Pages document and do some formatting on that one. So I'm going to close our Word and not save. And then let's look at Pages in a little more detail. Now the first thing we're going to do, let's go ahead and get this off of there. Let's look at our menu bar. When you go to your menu bar and click on File, this is where you can create a new document. You can choose one from the template chooser, open documents, open recent ones, close, you know how to save. You can duplicate it so that you can create more than one. Export, which is going to be very important. Create a template, and this is where you would change your margins, and then your printer. This export file, this export menu is going to be very important because in a Pages document, if someone else does not have the program Pages, you will have to export it as a Word document, a PDF, or an RTF. The next menu is your edit menu. This is where when you need to go in and cut something or copy it, you can cut, copy, and paste, or if you needed to undo that or redo. You can delete pages, clear. This is where you're going to do your selecting. You also have mail merge, and this is where you will find your spelling so that you can check it. Notice it is selected to check spelling as you type. Proofreading, and there's your thesaurus and dictionary. Your next menu is your insert menu. This is where you can insert sections, page breaks, doing page numbers, counting how many words or pages that you have in your document, creating table of contents, merging fields. This is where you can also insert things like text boxes in different shapes, tables, functions, and charts. Format is where you're going to change the format or the appearance of something, such as changing your font, your text, whether you want to align it left, center, or right. Formatting a table once you've created it, as well as charts and shapes. So this has to do with changing the appearance of anything that you've created on your Pages document. You then have the arrange, where once you put objects in there, you can move them to the front or to the back, or you can flip them. Notice that most of these are grayed because anything that is grayed out means you haven't used it yet, so you can't use that function. So if we had a shape in there, these would actually be highlighted so that we could perform that task. This is where you can look at the different types of views available. You can view your thumbnails. You can look at the Show Styles drawer, your rulers, format bars. Notice it says Show This because it is not showing at the moment. It's a toggle key. And then you can hide your rulers. Notice if I click on that, my ruler goes away. So it's just a matter of choice as to whether you like those things up there or not. This is also where you will see your inspector, and we'll get to that in just a moment. The window is just if you have different windows open at the same time. Share, this is kind of like your export we talked about. If you need to export it as a different file type, this is just a different place, a location that you can do that. And of course, you always have your help tutorials. This is one place that you can go to look at different video tutorials, to go online and find help in Pages, or to just look for some keyboard shortcuts. Now let's look at our inspector. We can either go to View to show our inspector, or over here on the right side you have your inspector tool. So we'll open up our toolbox, And this is our inspector. Let's click on the first one. The first tab is going to be the document inspector. So when you need to change the page setup, if it's not 8.5 by 11, or if you need to change your margins or your headers and footers and footnotes, this is where you would go to do that. Notice you have 3 tabs: a document tab, table of contents, and information. Your second tab is your layout tab. This is if you have more than one column, you can create columns. And then you can change the margins in there. You can create different sections. So depending on which item you're working on, you would have to use your inspector for the different places. For example, this is your wrap. If we had an object in there, some type of a shape or a clip art, we would be able to use the object placement to wrap it around our text. Your next one is your text inspector. And notice you have 4 tabs. You've got a text, which is going to be your color, your alignments. These are the different spacings that you can use within your characters or within your paragraphs. List, this is where you're going to find your bullets. If you create tabs, this is if you wanted to do first line or hanging indent tabs. And then you have more during paragraph styles and pagination. Your next inspector tool is your graphic. If we had a graphic right here, this is where you would actually go in and do the fill and the stroke, and you could change colors and shadows and angles. We won't use the metrics inspector that much. You also have a table inspector. This is if we had created a table. This is where you can go in and change the number of rows or columns that you have. You can center them, you can change the height or the width, you can put borders around them, or even put colors inside of them. Within that table, you can actually format them as well. Creating a chart, if you insert a chart, this is the inspector tool that you would go in and use to format. If you want to create a hyperlink, you have a link inspector, as well as QuickTime if you wanted to create a video.